Hello again. Quick maths lesson on perimeter for those of you interested. Again, it will lead to a couple of activities that you can do either online or you can do in your own time in your book or on a plain piece of paper. There's a couple of hands-on activities as well that you might want to investigate perimeter further. I know we haven't touched perimeter this year. We mentioned area, but obviously the two are different. But I know perimeter is something you did in year 4. It was also something we were going to do towards the end of this term, as in just before the Easter holidays, which are obviously technically week after next. So ideally you will currently have a pencil, a piece of paper and a ruler. If that paper was squared, that'd be great. If it isn't, then not to worry. Just a quick reminder, obviously you're watching a video, so you can pause whenever you need to, if you need to have a quick think about anything or if you need to go and get anything. So here we have a shape, a very blurry shape at that, but we have a shape. Hopefully with these two measurements, 6 centimetres as one side and 5 centimetres as the other side, hopefully we can already calculate the area, because that is something we've done. And we spoke about the fact that sort of the year 3, year 4 objective, is mainly looking at you to count the squares, each square being 1 centimetre squared, and that's where we get that from. But obviously in year 5, we were trying to multiply the dimensions by each other, which then obviously led us into doing volume, which is something slightly different again. But with our perimeter, what we're basically doing is we're starting in one corner, and we're imagining if we walked all the way around the outside of the shape, how far we would have walked, how far we would have gone. Okay, so that's mainly what we're looking at with our perimeter. So in this one, you can obviously see that this side is 6. You can obviously see that this side is 5, but the other two sides have obviously been left blank. Hopefully, you can work that out in terms of what that would be and what that would be, the missing dimensions. But if I'm going around this way instead, just give you a chance in case you haven't already thought about it. So 6 plus my 5, this side is equally as long or short as this side. This is equal length as that side. So that's another 6 centimetres and another 5 centimetres. So therefore I have got my 6, my 5, my 6 and my 5, or another shortcut of working out perimeter. If we are looking at a rectangle, then we can do one side, so sort of length by width, and then we can double it if it's a nice rectangle like that. But hopefully now you have done 5 and 6, which is 11, plus another 6 and another 5, which is 22, and our answer would be 22 centimetres. Not centimetres squared like it would with area, because we're not in the middle, we're around the outside of the shape. So have a go at applying those skills to this one. Again, we've got our width, we've got our length, but we're missing 2 dimensions from here. But hopefully you can identify the fact that that is a rectangle. Therefore this length is going to be the same value as the opposite side, and this length here is going to be the same value as the opposite side. So hopefully what you've done is you've done 4 plus 9 and then potentially doubled it, or you've done 4 plus 9 plus 4 plus 9. But hopefully you've worked that out. I'm going to take the shortcut. I'm going to go 9 plus 4 is 13, and I'm going to double that to get me 26, but this time obviously the answer is 26 metres. So around the outside would be 26 metres, which we should be able to see is different from area, because if it was area, I'd be doing 9 times 4, which isn't 26, it's actually 36. So in this instance, the area would be larger than the perimeter. Not necessarily always the case, but I'm not going to give you too much on that, because that might be one of your follow-up tasks that you get on with in your own time. So remembering that perimeter is around the outside of the shape, walking all the way around the outside, how far have you walked? And the answer is presented in metres in this case, and obviously this one here was in centimetres. So 3 shapes here for you. Just have a quick pause, have a quick go, A, working out the perimeters, and then B, explaining what you notice about the perimeter of all 3 rectangles. So I'm just going to ask you to pause now. I'm not necessarily going to stop talking. I rarely do, but I'm not necessarily going to stop talking. Instead, I'm just going to ask you to pause there and have a go at working those 3 out. And hopefully, when you calculated them, you realise that 8 plus 3 is 11, doubled is 22. 7 plus 4 is 11, doubled is 22. And 9 plus 2 is 11, doubled is 22. So the fact that the thing that you noticed was actually all three shapes had a perimeter of 22 centimetres. So even though they all look very different, they all had equal perimeter, 22 centimetres. So if you didn't just pause there, I've just given you the answer. Honestly, we don't do that in class, do we? So moving on. So here we have a composite shape, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So a composite shape, we spoke about these when we were looking at area, is sort of imagining that two shapes have kind of been squashed together or pushed together. Just did an action there with my hands, useless that was when you can't see it. But two shapes have been pushed together. And again, we've got some missing dimensions, some missing numbers. This one here is quite easy, because obviously it's 4. This one here, we don't actually need to know, because we won't be walking down that bit, because we'll be walking around the outside of the shape. So we'll never be walking in that middle bit. So the idea would be, firstly, to work out this one. I think that's best one to work out first, because that's quite easy. And also to work out this one. So hopefully you've seen that this line here is of equal length to the line opposite, 4 centimetres. So that side there is also 4 centimetres. This one, however, is a little bit trickier, because there's not a side which is equal length there. Because we can see this one is, yep, but we don't know what this bit was. And we can see that this one wasn't quite there. But hopefully we can see that if we took our 5 and we took our 1 centimetre, so we've added them two together, then we can see that we would have walked that distance in total. So adding this one and this one together makes a line, a side, which is of that length. And therefore that length is going to be 5 plus our 1, which is obviously 6. We've already spoken about the fact that that would be 4 centimetres there. And therefore we can obviously work out the perimeter. So we can go this way round. 4 plus 4 is 8 centimetres, plus 6 is 14 centimetres, plus 4 is 18 centimetres, plus 1 is 19 centimetres, plus 4, 23 centimetres, and plus our 5, 28 centimetres. So again, that is the perimeter. Because again, I keep going back to area, not to confuse you, but to try and show you that the two would be different. But if we were going to work out our area, then we would need to times our dimensions, our sides, our lengths, rather than add to them. So, here are a couple of questions for you to have a look at, for you to have a think. Again, question 1, composite shape. But if you think about where we're walking, you can think about what dimensions are missing. It's probably only this one that's going to cause you a little bit of confusion. Hopefully we've realised that this one here, would be 3 centimetres. Hopefully we've realised, 3 metres. Hopefully we've realised that this one here would be 1 metre. And therefore it's just this missing side that we're not sure of. Well, if it was the whole of that side, it would be 5 metres, as it shows us at the bottom. But it's not the whole of that side. It's 1 metre less, because we've got 1 metre sort of eaten out, cut out from there. So therefore it'd be 5 metres, take away the 1. This side would be 4 metres. And now that we've got all of our dimensions, we can add those ones together. And again, composite shapes here made up of 3 identical rectangles, and that's quite key. Each rectangle is 6 centimetres by 4 centimetres. So therefore, we can already fill in some very easy ones. We can fill that in. We can fill that in. This one. This one. This one. And this one. And now if you imagine that we're walking round, I don't know that bit. So it's only that bit and this one here, which will be equal length as that one, that I don't know. But I'm going to leave you to try and work that out using what we've done on the last 2 composite shapes. So use that knowledge, use that skill to try and work out what this missing dimension, this missing side would be. Remembering that we're walking around the outside because we are doing the perimeter. So, just going to show you the activities if you wanted to continue this learning. So here we have some quite hands-on activities for you to do. These again are on the website. So if you wanted to, it might be that you find something to measure out the perimeter of a shape or an area in your house in a more hands-on fashion. So here there's sort of like connect sticks more than anything, but if you might have pencils or strides, if you've got a ruler, you might use a ruler and measure it properly, but potentially you might measure your lounge, or if you're fortunate enough to have a garden, you might measure the perimeter of your garden. And maybe if it's a rectangle, you'll remember the cheat, whereby you don't have to actually calculate all four sides, all four dimensions. You can take a little shortcut. You might want to draw a picture on some squared paper and then work out the perimeter there. Again, might want to even work out the area just by counting the squares and then determine which is greater, the area or the perimeter, and why you think that might be the case. And the final one, sort of writing your name in block capitals. And again, working out the perimeter. You can just about see the numbers here where somebody has done that before. The other two documents on the website are something from the White Rose Hub, which hopefully you recognise from class before. So the varied fluency is on there, which is normally sort of a beginner's step, whereby if I'm not 100% sure, it might be that I do that next, although sometimes some of that is quite tricky itself. You've then got a couple of reasoning questions to have a go at as well, if you'd like to. And then the final one, excuse me, I just clicked on the same one. The final one comes from the NCTM website, and there's just a couple of reasoning tasks. There's that one, and then these two, there and there, look exactly the same. So well, they don't, because you can see the red square, but they're very, very similar. So if it was me and I'm feeling quite confident, try this one here. If I'm feeling really confident, try this one here, because that one's a little bit trickier. So once again, they are on the school website where you found this lesson. Children, class pages, year 5, maths. It's in there, maths perimeter, and it's all in there. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll catch up with you soon, and I'll stick another lesson up shortly during this week at some point. Okay, stay safe. Best of luck.